Awesome, man. Well, we got a
Uh,
good show tonight. We got
oh,
quite a bit to talk about.
yes.
You are going to be slightly upset with me, though.
I don't think so.
I think you are when
Oh,
you find out that I didn't finish Fallout.
oh my gosh. Well, I don't
Dude,
know.
I couldn't. I couldn't.
How far did you get? How far did you get?
Well, this is the other part you're going to be mad about.
Would you like what? You finished the first episode?
No, I finished the second episode.
Okay, yeah. No, dude,
And
honestly,
I was
I
like,
don't.
I couldn't. I got through the second episode, and I was like, on Saturday, and I was like, man, I just can't do this.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
It's like it just wasn't that. If other people
It
like
didn't
it,
hook
fine.
you.
It just did not
Yeah.
hook me, man.
And
And it's
and
like I
the
really just don't want to spend 8 hours
is
watching this.
the second episode the one where Maximus gets beat up by the right?
It's where the
Or is that the
what
third
are they
episode?
called? The in the steel troop, steel suit
Oh, the
guys.
Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah, for that whatever that specific fighter is called that's in the steel suit. He got
Oh,
killed by the
he
mutated bear.
he gets attacked by the bear. That's right, and he steals the armor. Okay, so you didn't even get to the. Yeah, I think that the yeah, I understand. Um, that's crazy that you couldn't get through the whole thing, but you watched all of the Wheel of Time season 2 though. You have problems.
I do. Listen, I don't make sense, but I do make sense.
Well, I mean, at this point, I think the show's been out for what, over a week? Is it 2 weeks now? I don't even know where. I guess it's a
It's
little
over a
a
week.
little over a week.
Thursday will be 2 weeks,
Um,
and
so spoilers, I guess. But like in the third episode, Maximus, he gets the armor, and he gets attacked. I alluded to this a
no,
little.
he gets the armor in the second episode.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, like he gets the armor, and then in the third. That's what I meant. Sorry. In the third episode, he wait, hang on. Does it? No, it didn't get damaged yet. I think he was trying to do something with it, and at this point, I don't really remember. But he like
He was fighting the ghoul at the end of the second episode. And then the ghoul
that's that. Okay, so that was the second
launched
episode.
him basically.
And he so I guess the armor gets damaged, and he goes and he puts it and he like hangs it up. Maybe this is the third episode then. He goes and he hangs it up, and he's trying to do some repairs on it, and he gets attacked by raiders, and like the raiders like kick the crap out of him, right? And this is what I was talking to on, or alluding to on Zach's channel a little bit when we were doing that. Thanks again to Zach's for inviting us on to talk about Shogun. If you guys want to hear more about what we thought about episode 9, we might talk about it a little bit tonight, but
yeah, we got to talk about episode 9.
He gets like beat up and attacked by these raiders, and they basically like beat him up and then leave him alone to go take his armor. And I'm like, dude, those raiders would have killed him.
Well, yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm just like, what the heck, man? Like, and that's why I said like this show in particular, like because Mahler was pretty much the same. I think he watched one episode and was like, I can't do this. He's like, this is too stupid, which I think is a completely justifiable reaction to the show. I think for me, having at least some kind of like interest in the series from playing the games, I wanted to see where it went, you know?
Yeah.
And but I agree. I mean, like, there's so much stupid stuff that happens in the show that's like I could understand why people would be like, I'm out. Like, I can't deal with like the lack of logic in the way that they're handling this stuff.
Well, I think the problem is that when I watch, what frustrates me with Fallout is there's so many stupid things, and when I watch it, I'm like, there's so much potential here.
Oh yeah,
like because there are some good things within it, and so then it just kind of ticks me off, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch the rest of it because it's just gonna be like this. Maybe it gets a bit better by a notch or two or something like that. But there's just so many stupid things in the first 2 episodes that I was like, I can't get by this.
It's a lot.
Whereas
It's
like with Rebel Moon, like it's for me worse than Fallout, but it was hilarious.
Oh, Rebel Moon is
bad it was.
Rebel Moon's the part 2 in particular, but I'm fine just like lumping part 1 and part 2 together. It's the worst. I think it's the worst thing I've seen in a long time. Like it's easily like Rebel Moon is like
Oh, is it worse than Madam Web? That's what we should
honestly,
start.
dude.
We should start a series where it goes, is it worse or which one's worse? You know, something
We
along
need a
that lines
clever we need
where,
a clever name for it for sure.
yeah.
Honestly, I kind of think it is.
Oh man,
I know that's I is that controversial to say? I don't know if that's controversial to say. I honestly I hate Rebel Moon more than I hate Madam Web.
that's fair. That's it. I found Madam Web more entertaining, just from a pure like on every level. It was bad
Madam Web's like
and
meme.
comical.
Yeah, Madam Web's like memeable, so I don't. I hate to say that that gives it because we're talking bottom of the barrel. Like I am perfectly fine saying that like Madam Web is a 1 out of 10, but so is Rebel Moon. So is Rebel
No,
Moon.
Rebel Moon has to be a .9 out of 10. One of them has to be a .9.
Nah, I'm not doing all that. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
I we'll get into Rebel. Man, we'll get into Rebel Moon. Yeah, I don't think Fallout quite gets into that. I think there's redeeming aspects of the show, and there's stuff that people are gonna like, whether they're fans of the game or like casual watchers. And that's something I always have to kind of remember is that your average casual viewer of something like Fallout probably isn't gonna pick up on everything that's wrong with it, which is really fun. It's so funny to me, man. Like I don't know sort of like is zeitgeist the right term? Sort of the overall like commentary of different media properties and the things that are coming out, whether it's like Rebel Moon Part 1, you have like a bunch of people defending it and saying that it's like it's not that bad and people are they're critiquing it too hard or whatever they're saying about it. And then like Part 2 comes out and then like everyone is it seems like a majority of people are on the same page with how bad it is. And it's like, guys, Part 1 is just as bad. You know, like a lot of like I've heard people say like, "Oh, Part 1's not as bad as Part 2." And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like they're both very bad. It's very similar in the level
You're splitting
of,
hairs there.
yeah, to a degree I think that's right. And I don't find Fallout to be that level of bad. Like there is
No, it's not.
there
There's
is character
good qualities to
development.
it.
Yeah, there's like plot elements that they're working with. There is a lot of convenience, which is probably the biggest problem with the plot in Fallout is it's just so convenient that like these different things are happening and it's like why is like this dog who just gets like stabbed by the ghoul now following him around like it's not that big of a deal just because like for no reason at first and then he gets the head. I don't remember if that happens at the end of the second episode or not, but like it just there's stuff that I'm like this doesn't make sense, but then you watch Rebel Moon and like Rebel Moon is insulting to me on like a very deep level.
It doesn't. It seems like Zack Snyder's trying to deceive you, whereas Fallout is just like they just made mistakes.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's just not. It's not living up to a high standard.
Yeah.
That's why I said like for me it does fall somewhere in that 5 range probably. Like I think I could be pushed down to a 4 with it. But walking away from it, I'm like, yeah. It's like it's right in the middle. Like, it's definitely not a 9. It's insane to me that IGN gave that a 9, but it's IGN. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I didn't take the time to rewatch it since you only made it 2 episodes in. Golly, you gotta give me a heads up. You gotta give me a heads up on that.
Well, hey, I'm glad you didn't. I
was
probably
too
should
busy.
have just texted you on Sunday, been like, hey man, I gotta tap out.
Bruh.
It never hooked me. It's
I'm
not.
fine,
It just
man.
wasn't my cup of tea. I think if there was more to it, to where it was had me invested,
Yeah.
then I could have kept going. It just seemed very bland to me, and it's like, I feel like I've already seen this storyline where I don't know. It seemed very meandering and too many plot holes, conveniences.
Yeah.
Things I was just questioning, and if I'm having to spend a lot of my time doing that, then it's like I'm just gonna tap out because there's nothing here that's making me want to come back.
I will. I'm gonna probably watch season 2 when it comes out. I think more out of curiosity. So I hope that
See where everything ends up.
I think the show has potential to get better. To grow off
maybe
of season 1.
Well, I mean, I remember the first time I tried to watch Parks and Recs season 1. I stopped like halfway through, and I was like, "Bump that! I don't see why
Yeah.
so many people like this." I waited a little bit, went back, finished season 1, watched season 2. I was like, "Oh, now I get it." And so it could be a scenario like this to
It's
where I
possible,
end up
yeah.
going back. I
It,
end up going
it's
back to it.
it's
But
gonna get another season. It's popular enough, and it's done. What up, Zax?
hey, Zax. Yeah, they
It's
already renewed it for season 2, by
okay.
the way.
I was gonna say it's popular enough, and it's done so well for Bethesda as far as like getting people back into Fallout.
Oh, I know. It's
Um,
trending everywhere.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, congratulations on the success, and I hope that they take that and they. I don't know if there's going to be enough criticism out there for. It's not like these they care most of the time anyway and make those like kind of corrections. But I hope that season 2 is better. I hope that the writing is a lot more tight. Yeah.
Well, speaking of writing not being tight, there's a
Did
lot of
you
that tonight.
hang on
But
before? Are you want to talk about Rebel Moon?
no, 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 not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I was going to talk about 2 pieces of Lord of the Rings news
Oh, heard. Gotcha.
and throw it on
I
you.
was like, where's he going with this? A lot of bad writing going around.
Yeah, there is. So Rings of Power. Well, before we get to Rings of Power's news, I wanted to talk about the Lord of the Rings news. Actually, there's 3. First off, Embracer Group has split up, which owned the rights to what was it? Give me a second here. I thought I had it pulled up, but
Womp womp. Dead
I don't.
air.
I'm looking at it. I know. I know. Jeez. Because I just want to make sure I get it right. But Embracer Group basically split up, and now they're going to be called the company that will own the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit for film is going to be called Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. So I find that interesting because they seem like basically Embracer splitting itself into 3 standalone entities, right? Public entities. One of them will be Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends, and is the only one that will exclusively stay under their um, Embracer Group out of the 3. And so they're relying heavily on the Lord of the Ring IP. And they also own the rights to the Gollum game and everything like that. Well, what also came out today was the trailer for Tales of the Shire. Did you happen to see that yet, David?
Which one?
The new Middle Earth video game called Tales of the Shire.
I'm aware of it mostly because of you. Is there like trailers and stuff out?
Yeah, they released a trailer, and
Pull it
it
up.
basically seems like and someone can correct me if they think I'm wrong on this, but in my opinion, it's basically Animal Crossing for
Oh,
Middle Earth
what? It's called
and
Tales from the Shire.
of the Shire.
Of the Shire.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah,
So I think it's gonna be campy. It's gonna be. I think it would be
yeah,
more
yeah.
successful than the Gollum game. I could have told. I mean, geez, that game.
Yeah.
I could have.
I mean,
I
yeah,
could have
dude. Of
stopped
course.
them. How that game even got made to where somebody was like, it'd be great. You could either play a Gollum as Smeagol,
Yeah,
and I would have been like, no.
saying that a game is better or will be more successful than the Gollum game is just I don't know. That it's like, yeah, guys, we get duh.
Yeah. But it just strikes me how
This is not
again, this isn't my cup of tea type
me,
of game.
yeah, me either. I can like even just looking at the animation, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, I could definitely
Not
see
in.
how it would be up some people's alley, but I said on Twitter
Oh,
today
Weta Workshop.
basically what I just said, and then I said it's not my cup of tea, as I'd rather lead a Hobbit army to take over Middle Earth. And it just seems like I'm not sure why we haven't gotten The Witcher
Joseph,
3, but
you don't
Middle
want
Earth
to you don't
edition.
want to forage friendships,
No,
bruh. Come
I
on.
want to destroy friendships as Sauron and take
Yeah.
over Middle Earth and
Can
get
I
my new tower in the Shire.
can I be honest? So like what this looks like is Final Fantasy, like elements of Final Fantasy 14 that I like without the other elements that I also like.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because it's like you can do most of this stuff in that, but then you also get to go on really big raids with other people, and
I just don't understand. I don't understand and maybe you could better help me understand because
yeah,
you're more in tune with the video game
I'm the
world than I
gamer.
am. Yes, you're our gaming nerd. But the past 3 Middle Earth video games. So I'm gonna count this one in there. Tales of the Shire, and then you have a Moria one for the dwarves, which is
Yeah,
just mining. You're
it's
not even.
it's all right. I don't know if that's like it's kind of Minecrafty. Um,
Yeah,
it
and then you have Gollum, and it's like, what are we doing here, people? What? Oh well, guys, it's so easy. Just take The Witcher 3, make Lord of the Rings,
yeah,
just
you
or
easily,
do a conquest
yeah,
game. Or
you could easily do. I don't know why they're making all these. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand this because Animal Crossing was like hugely popular.
10 years ago,
Um,
yes, it was.
no, dude, the last one that came out, I'm pretty sure,
Okay.
the most recent Animal Crossing is like sold significantly better than any of the other ones that have come out. Like it was wildly popular.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I remember it being wildly
Let me see
popular. For some
here.
reason, I thought it released a while. You know,
2019, 2020.
yeah, sounds
Um,
about right.
it,
I remember it was insane then,
dude, it
but
it was crazy how popular that thing was. Like I think they
I just
were they were having trouble. Like people were having trouble finding like physical copies. And well, then again, to be fair, it was also during COVID, but it was like early days. So I think it was like really hard. I'm pretty sure Animal Crossing and probably a little bit of mix of COVID was why it began to be harder to find Switches in the wild again. Because
oh yeah,
every not only were people like at home, but like everybody heard about this game and was just trying to buy it and play it. I'm
no, I
looking.
feel you on that, dude. Again, I think there's a place for it. I hope it is popular for the developers that made it and everything like that. It's just not my cup of tea, and I wish we would finally get a game that
Oh,
is
New Horizons.
again Middle Earth setting to where I can go into Moria, get messed up. Like I want to be able to get on a live stream with me, David, and Jake, and whoever else wants to join, and we all travel to Khazad-dûm and get destroyed by the Balrog. Um, or
Yeah,
be able to
dude. A
travel the
new.
Witcher style, and then I want to have like a BR style to where you could be a Balrog or
I'd
an
love
L.
personally. I mean, I don't know if it would pull me away from Final Fantasy 14, but if they put out a new, like really well made MMO, where it is a lot of that, and you're going on like raids to like kill a Balrog or and you set it during first age, second age. You would
Ooh,
know more about that than I would, but that would lend to some of the more like fantastical creatures, you know.
you could
Um,
do like Elden Ring style first age because I think it works with the
that'd be
Valars,
cool.
Melkor,
Bro,
Balrogs,
I
the
played.
dragons,
Oh man,
the nameless things,
if they did a licensed, it would have to be really really good as far as like the Elden Ring style. Um, but yeah,
and the
I'd
Valar
be
still in
down.
that.
Hmm.
I would like a more like I like the MMO aspect of it, but I also like the Witcher 3 aspect
Oh
as
yeah.
well, to where you can have a singular journey as well. So it would have to be both and I think there's a lot of capitalization there they could make, and I don't understand why they haven't done that yet.
Um,
There is Lord of the Rings online, which is MMO style, by the way. But
Animal Crossing New Horizons, which was the one that came out in 2020. Uh, 43 million. I never understand this like 43.38. I'm like, it's a single game. Like, how are we getting these? Anyway, it sold 43 million copies, 654 million in global digital sales by the end of 2020.
yeah,
Um, very, very successful.
dude, that'd be so fun doing a first age Middle Earth game, even
Agreed.
second age.
Yeah,
You could do.
there's a
I
lot
just
of room for it, but again, dude, I just think we are in a specific time frame, in our lives where anything that is part of a fandom, I just don't want them to touch it.
yes,
Cuz like I just don't think it can I don't think it could be done right. I don't think that the people who are in the positions to make these things can do it properly. And everybody who is in the position to do that is already making something successful, right? So it's like,
right.
oh man, like I said, oh, it'd be great to have like a a Lord of the Rings game in that makes me that I would enjoy the way I enjoy like Final Fantasy 14, but I already have You know what I mean? Like I've got
Yeah.
something that fills that gap.
See, I
And
don't.
it would
Not
have to
yet.
be incredibly good to pull me away. You know what I mean? It's like it's just yeah. It's I don't know if like my tastes have gotten more particular with certain things, and there's just certain things I'm looking for, and this like Animal Crossing Hobbit game just isn't it.
Just
You know,
Dude, I
um,
don't know, man. I really, again, nothing against that game. I hope it's successful. It seems like a
sure, yeah,
very
it seems all right.
peaceful game that you can just chill and
It's
relax
not
and
trying to
do
offend
some
anyone.
farming.
It's not trying to
Yes.
purposely go out and like offend a fandom. You know what I
I
mean?
thought it would have been better is if like you see them in the Shire, then all of a sudden you just see Sauron come sprinting across and start slashing some hobbits. And I'd be like, yeah, Tales of the Shire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, hello to Jake D in the troll room. Good to
Yes.
see you, friend. Yeah,
But I do
man.
have a theory to drop on you for Rings
Ooh,
of Power season 2.
yes, yes.
Okay. So this is my theory that I've been thinking about, and I was going to drop it on Zach's stream last week, but I didn't want to unneedly steer the conversation that way,
Fair
just to
enough.
drop that.
Fair enough.
But after the leaks for season 2 surfaced, I think what happened is that Amazon panicked and was like, "Oh no, leaks for our crappy show for season 2 got out," and they chose to reshoot parts of the show in secret.
Hmm.
Then they relied on more favorable outlets to them, like Fellowship of the Fans, for example, on Twitter, to dismiss the leaks as fake. Like, so we're gonna lie, say the leaks are fake, and that actually we had this plan all along, and we wanted to give different stories to different groups of people so we could weed out the leakers. Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think that the leaks were actually true, and that response came back to them that, hey, that absolutely sucks, like, duh, typical.
Hmm.
And they just panicked. So
Yeah.
I think that's why it's taken so long, because word just was released last week. Let me just double check. It was either last week or the week before last. Yep. So according to the Fellowship of the Fans, work on Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power season 2 is almost complete with a couple of months of post production left. Now, David,
Hmm.
they finished filming
Yeah.
last July, June, May, April, right around that time frame.
Okay.
So there's been plenty of time for
Yeah.
them because during the strikes and everything, they were adamant, hey, we're working on this to get this out in 2024 and everything like that. So I really think that they reshot everything after the leaks got out,
Interesting.
because they were having that I can't remember his
Ugh.
name, but that Indian dude play Sauron, and then
Yeah.
Halbrand play Sauron, and then this.
Oh man, this show's gonna be bad. I mean, we knew that
I can't
already,
wait.
but like when you're like this guy's playing Sauron, but also this guy's playing Sauron. I'm just like, ugh. It's like
You're
this-
playing Sauron.
uh,
I'm playing Sauron. She
Yeah.
are playing Sauron.
Who Sauron is the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
yeah, dude. That's really confusing. I mean, yeah. Let's see. So they finished filming, and like what you're telling me is that you think that they did a ton of reshoots, and that's why because they panicked and either I guess they would have to either reshoot or cut a lot of stuff. But if you're trying to hit hour-ish long episodes, you need to. Oh, dude, this is gonna be really bad.
Yeah, well, like one of the actors has now said that, oh no, he's not actually playing Sauron, he's playing someone else, and then this person's actually doing this, and then and like everything's kind of been restructured, and they're Fellowship of the Fans came out with this big announcement saying, hey, we're doing an investigation into these leaks, and we're so sorry, and all this stuff. And I've just kind of pieced things together myself.
It's making me think. I'm just thinking through as far as like editing wise.
Mm-hmm.
Say like I was in that, like that's how I always try to look at it, is like you're telling me this stuff and I'm like, okay, if we're talking reshoots, but I mean, if they finish shooting
in early April
of
to
last
at the latest, early April to early July of last
of
year.
last year. And then,
Yep.
the leaks got out when?
Leaks got out, I would say probably, um, oh shoot, maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Okay. So they were okay. They were pretty far through editing at that point then.
May have even been 2 months ago.
Okay. And then like you're thinking that happened and they decided to do reshoots and that's why they were saying like we're really close to being. So a couple of things
Yeah.
probably happened. So if they were worried about, here's just kind of my thought process on it. If they were worried about um certain characters also being other characters, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a lot of ADR, so like digital audio going over the top of the original audio that isn't the same. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I know what you mean.
you know what I'm talking about. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
ADR. And you're gonna have stuff like that in there, is what I'm thinking. You'll have that placed throughout. You're gonna have a lot of characters talking off screen while you're looking at other characters to kind of so that they could go back and re-record that stuff as well. Because like for me, what it sounds like is that if they're doing reshoots, they're probably that's typical. But like what it sounds like to me is that they have to do a lot of work within the episodes to try to kind of like change stuff in a way where
Yeah.
they don't have to spend a lot of time going back and doing massive reshoots. Because if that was the case, bro, you're talking about a ton of extra money. You're talking because you have to bring actors back, you have to bring cast and crew back, just to do some of this like pickup stuff. That sounds
Yep.
That sounds crazy to me. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna try to pull a lot of trickery in post, to maybe move things around, change things, get rid of things. I, it sounds like it's gonna be a
A
disaster.
dumpster.
Yeah, maybe even more
Well,
so
it's
than the
supposed to
first
be
season.
even, according to one of the directors, a darker and grittier take on
I
Tolkien.
don't
Like, oh yeah,
care. I
great.
don't
You don't.
care anymore, bro. I just don't. That doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I mean, like, I've seen enough of Zack Snyder's work to be like, who cares? Like, if you're the whole idea of like, oh, this being dark and gritty or whatever, I'm like, okay, but is it good? Like, is it gonna be good? Do you actually like care about what you're doing? You know? Because like, I don't know. I'm not 15 anymore. Like, just the gritty nature of something on screen isn't gonna make me feel some kind of way. You
I
know,
feel you on that, man.
it's got to have
I,
the other elements to it.
I feel you. Well, should we save Rebel Moon for last, or should we and get into Ungentlemanly Warfare?
You did?
Since
Did you watch
you,
it?
I did. I wasn't able to, and I couldn't
Okay.
find a version online.
That's
Excuse me. I'm sorry. That's not true. I don't do that.
redact. Um,
In the live stream,
I'll keep it.
I couldn't find a version near me.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Um, and relatively spoiler free. Um, this movie is good. I don't think it's like great. I don't think that how this is something I thought about the other day. You know how some people will say they make these like excuses for like bad movies or television by being like, well, it's not trying to win any awards.
Yes.
That's personally that's how I feel about this. But like, it's also good. But it's not setting its goal is not the idea behind that phrase. I think was always to be like it's not setting out to be like an Oscar nominated movie. That's not the goal of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It is pretty close to like a pure World War II action flick. This isn't quite on the Western Front. This isn't Saving Private Ryan. This is like this very much is
This isn't My Little Pony, the documentary.
this is like a Guy Ritchie movie pretty much through and through. It's fun. The cast is great. It's got a good sense of humor. It really is sort of this like just easy watchable thing and I think that Henry Cavill is great in it. I think that Alan Rickman is great in it. I actually like a majority of the cast. Um, I would love to see sequels. I don't know how they would really do it, other than they probably just have to start making stuff up, because I don't know if there's like other documented cases of this group and the missions that they've done. Um, but yeah, man, I mean, like, uh, it's a good popcorn flick, which is something that's like, and what I mean by that is like, it's nice to have stuff like this that's like, okay, I can watch this. It's like, dude, it's like 2 hours long. It doesn't even feel like that. Like, it flows really well. There's like maybe some minor issues with pacing in it, but like, it's pretty excusable. Um,
Mm.
there's nothing that just like I went. It's nice to watch something and not just be like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, you know.
Yeah.
And I was looking for it. There was stuff in it where I was like, okay, like, would they get away with that? It helps that this is at least based on historical events. I don't think it's like crazy accurate, you know. And like, I would say like Henry Cavill has like, he's basically got invincibility mode on in this, but it's so much fun and he's so entertaining to watch in this. And like, this movie, dude, this movie proves that he should be an A-list actor, as far as I'm
Well,
concerned.
speaking of that, that's what I wanted to talk to you about is Henry Cavill a movie star? Because
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
like a movie star that can pull in people, like a true, like,
Yeah.
as people talk about Tom Cruise now, because I want to say that because
Uh,
it's come in at number 4 of the box office.
yeah.
Now,
Um.
the asterisk I want to put there is it's like, if I'm thinking of demographic, this movie would probably target,
Yeah.
generally speaking. It's probably going to be the kind that watch Reacher, right?
Yeah. For sure.
And you have Alan Richson stating the past few weeks, hey, basically crapping over his entire demographic that watches this show.
Yeah. Not a smart move on his part. I think people. I think.
Just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what you think, dude.
Yeah. Agreed. I think people are a little
He's
too.
allowed to voice it, but then
Yeah.
people are also allowed to be like, you know what?
And
Forget
Tom,
you. I'm not going to watch Reacher now.
we're just in a really like hyper politically divided time too,
Yes.
where it's like anybody goes one step out from where a specific demographics thinks they should be, and it's like, and again, guys, this is why like value for value. It's why we were trying to handle things, because to be honest, like, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about stuff and the way the perspective that I see it from, and if it like if you don't like it, like, okay, you know,
Yep.
whatever.
But
I'll try to lay
you got to
out
be able
stuff the
to
best that you can.
live with
I
those
can.
consequences, right?
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
I
And that's the
don't
thing.
know. I don't know if it is, because like, friend of the show, Justin, who I went to see it with, like, that's how he felt, but he still really liked it, you know. And
Yeah.
Alan Richardson he's great in it.
So then why did this come in number 4? Okay, so and now keep in mind,
I
Civil
don't know.
War's been out for a while. It was number 1 in the box office. Um,
Bro, I don't know. Are they lying about the
Ab-
numbers?
Abigail did better. Godzilla versus Kong the New Empire did better.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's better. It's better than Godzilla for sure, and I haven't seen. I'm sure it's better than Civil War, and I'm sure it's like, I haven't seen Abigail, so I couldn't tell you for certain.
Because I only say that because it has a good star-studded cast, a good name behind it, with being
Yeah.
Guy Ritchie and everything, and it's like, ooh,
Maybe.
is Henry Cavill actually a
Do you think it was
movie star? Because I mean, I agree. I think he is
I think-
personally.
I
I really enjoy him. He's one of my favorite actors. But is he really that pool?
He should be. And I'm gonna say this, because this is it. I don't know if this is true or not, but if we're kind of theorizing to some degree, like, I don't think he has been given. He needs this. Everybody keeps saying this, and I think it's true. He needs to fire his agent.
Yes. Well, that's his baby mama now. Good luck.
Oh, is it? Ooh,
Yeah.
rip. Still needs to fire her. Yeah.
Because I say baby mama because he has a child on the way with her. So, but, and I think that was The Rock's ex's ex
Oh, really?
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it sucks. he's so charismatic in this, and it's so funny. I don't want to spoil anything because I feel like there's even like small situations in it. Maybe it'll have a second life later on. It's not really changing much for me. Like I won't go see it in the theater again. I mostly just don't have time. But I don't know. How? Okay, so it was number 4 in the box office. How was it financial? I mean, like, you think it's going to be all right financially? That's because, to be honest, for me, that matters
its budget
more.
was 60. Its budget was 60 million.
Okay, because for me personally, where it landed in the week doesn't mean as much to me as like
Oh my
budget was.
gosh!
Huh?
I'm sorry. I was just checking on Henry Cavill, his girlfriend,
Yeah.
and everything, and I saw something that I just clicked on an article that said that there's some controversy and allegations, and now something's erupting about her, and so I just clicked just to see what it was real fast. And
What?
she's facing allegations of racism and cultural appropriation due to past images resurfacing, where much of her body is colored brown and donning African tribal attire. Not in a mocking way, just a picture.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like people can't celebrate other cultures anyway. I'm not going to dig into it because I don't really care to read the article. I was just trying to see, was she The Rock's girlfriend? I couldn't remember. I didn't want to speak out of turn on that.
Oh,
so
heard.
take that with a grain of thought.
So domestic.
Hey, Jenna.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't look like it's done anything internationally as of right now. So I don't know if that worldwide box office.
Yeah, it may do well in Britain.
Well, it says it's got
$60 million budget.
Yeah, no, it says it has like a worldwide, but it looks like it's just domestic so far. So it hasn't.
Yep.
Oh, it hasn't released overseas yet.
Yes.
So we have to.
That makes sense.
Let's give it some time. Maybe we we'll put a pin in it as far as like the money it makes. Yeah, I think you could be right, dude. I don't. But the thing is like Alan Rickman isn't even like he's in Reacher. Yeah, we'll see.
Godzilla's almost made $500 million. Can you believe it,
dude? I see, and that's the thing is like for me, and maybe it's
I'm
just
sorry, my ADD brain. I'm sorry.
You're good. Maybe for me, this works. Maybe for me, like Ungentlemanly Warfare is like the kind of blockbusters that I want to see. And
yes,
and stuff that's still got like it's character driven. Like Guy Ritchie's very character driven with everything that he does. And this is like not his best attempt at that. But again, there's good stuff in there. Like there's setups, there's payoffs. Like it's a solid movie. It's just not like it's not brilliant by any regard.
Right.
And that's still the kind of stuff that I'm fine with that. Like it's just fun characters. Like they all have like kind of different personalities. They all have different skill sets. And it's just fun and like I chuckling or like legitimately laughing at stuff throughout it. Like I said, good popcorn flick. Like you're not going to be, your life's not going to change because of this, right? Like it's not Godzilla -1. Like we're not going to sit and have like really interesting discussions about the questions that are like answered in -1 about governments and things like that. It's not that at all. But yeah, man, I want to see more of that and less of giant CG monsters beating the crap out of each other. And maybe it's because I'm an old at this point, but like this is much more of my preference to that kind of stuff, and definitely to something like Civil War. Like Civil War doing as well as it has, like, bro, I mean, that makes me like suspicious because I don't know anyone who's seen it outside of like internet circles. I don't know a single.
I know people who've seen it here,
not
and
a single
they've said,
person
"Oh,
that's
it's
seen
good.
it.
It's good." I'm like,
Bruh.
eh.
Maybe
I'll see.
maybe that's something that when it's like
that's normies though telling me that.
Maybe when it's out digitally, maybe that's a movie we need to go back and just like put the
eyeglass, the magnifying glass up to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It might be one of those movies, dude, because like that stuff makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. It's just like, why do you like this?
Whenever we do our review, though, we have to title it Tim Pool's Civil War. It just Directed and written by Tim Pool.
Bro. But yeah, man, I think you'll like it. I don't know where you'll ultimately kind of fall on it, but I think Henry Cavill's so good in it, and it's like it's much closer to the kinds of movies I would like to see him in. The movie is definitely taking some jabs at the fact that he's not James Bond, and I won't tell you why. You'll pick up on it watching it, but there are some absolute references, and it's kind of it feels to me like Guy Ritchie putting a middle finger up to Hollywood not letting him be James Bond.
Yeah.
So,
well, I wanted to ask you that question about Alan Richardson because it had been blowing up on Twitter today. With,
again?
With them saying, well, it's because he said all these words. The reason why it didn't do this well this past week. And I'm like, oh, it didn't even open up worldwide. That makes a lot more sense.
Again, that's why, like, you scratch a little deeper.
Oh, I'll scratch deeper.
But yeah, him coming out and saying that stuff probably
negligible
hurt it.
impact.
Yeah, let's just see how it does worldwide, and then we can kind of come back and be like, yeah, maybe it did have a bigger impact than originally thought. But it's easy to be like, well, maybe I'll skip it because he's in it. I get that. I completely get it. Well,
yeah, Alan, don't hurt people's feelings. Let me do that for you. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Someone said that this past week. I heard someone say that, and I died laughing. I'm like, that's a hilarious way to put that.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, man, because, like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I really want to go into that. There are just, like, there are plenty of people who have stated their opinions about. Like, I want to know. I would be curious, and maybe this is something to talk with Zach's about at some point, or like just with people who kind of fall on that side. But like, he comes out and says, I guess, stuff about cops. I don't know if I missed that part. I know we talked about the Trump stuff last week.
Yeah, I missed the cop part too.
But like, I don't know. I can think of a few people who are like in similar spaces as us who definitely don't like cops and have pretty successful businesses and people buying their products. And like, it's not hurting.
It's probably all in the manner in which you do it, you know?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about now.
I guess it doesn't really. It's Eric July.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty successful, man. It's funny. I think I mentioned this on a podcast one time. He had oh shoot, the guy's name is slipping my mind.
Bosch.
No, the guy that played Superman on television in like the 90s. Do you know who I'm talking
Adam
about?
Krigler?
No.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And he was putting out this comic book that was like about cops, and he was saying all this stuff, and you could see Eric like just trying to hold back. It's really funny, but like that's what I'm saying is like I need correlation, not just correlation, but like, is that right? I need like that thing that connects the two, because like we can say like Alan Richardson
causation.
Yeah, like he said these things, therefore it impacted that. But I'm like, I don't know. It was like the worldwide market sometimes plays a bigger role in that than anything else.
That's true.
I don't know.
I saw 2 flags out in the wild. There's this house.
Oh, Dean Cain. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that.
There's a house nearby me that has a "Don't Tread on Me," and then it has the thin blue line flag.
Yeah. Love to see it. Love to see it.
Who do you think is going to be the one treading on you? Joe Biden ain't showing up to your house to do it.
Yeah, and he's you
can't even walk upstairs.
Let's actors, people in general, they're not always very tactful in the things that they say, and I tend to agree. Like I do wish that like actors in particular would just like shut up and do their jobs. Yeah. Like, listen, I understand, and there might be a place for it, but
to me, it's like when an actor comes out like he did, it's like an audition, like to let everyone else in Hollywood know, hey, I'm here and I'm auditioning for any roles you have.
Dude, Hollywood is super cultish in that way, where it's sort of like you have to kind of like fall in line in that, or at the very least, like the way that I think Henry Cavill takes it as he usually is just pretty quiet about that stuff.
Which is smart.
He's quite tactful in the way that he answers questions, whether he believes one way or another. And there might be some stuff. I obviously haven't seen everything he's ever said on camera or whatever, but he from the stuff I've seen, he always seems to be more tactful in the way that he answers questions. And maybe it's because he understands that Michael Jordan approach, where he's like, what he was the one that said like Republicans buy Nikes too, right?
Right. Yeah. Republicans buy shoes too, something like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of where you come from with it. It's like, hey, like, yeah, maybe don't attack your audience or your potential audience. So regardless, guys, like I think it's a pretty good movie. Whether you wait to watch it or not, whether you decide to or not, I think it's a lot of fun. And I like Guy Ritchie. And you should still watch The Gentleman because it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, because Covenant was a good film. So I'm interested to see if
I still need to watch that.
If this is as good or better or worse.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should watch it because I could have given you at least some sort of. I don't think it's his best movie. I just again it makes me feel some kind of way of like, man, if we could get more of these like 6 and 7s that are on this level, that are coming out somewhat regularly, and then like maybe their budgets aren't blown out of the water. It's like $60 million. I mean, of course, like, are we doubling that whole deal, whatever. Regardless of that, like if it's what we say a lot of the time on here, it's like if we could get movies that like their budgets aren't blown out of the water, they land in more of that 6 and 7 range, and then we have the stuff like occasional stuff that we're still getting that runs into the 8s to 10s. I don't know. I think entertainment in general would be in a better place than it is right now.
Agreed.
It's like less Rebel Moons, more Ungentlemanly Warfares. Like let's set that. let's move in that direction.
Yes. He's preaching now. I completely agree. And let's hopefully actresses will be quiet with their opinions as well.
That'll never happen, but
no,
such is life.
Not
man.
with social media.
It never changed. I mean, this stuff. This is the way it's always been. It's the way it's always been, and it'll be a controversy for another. If he eventually stops talking, it'll blow over just like everything else does. Some people will remember by the time season 3 of Reacher comes out, but everyone will move on to the next thing that they're upset about and the next person they're upset with.
That's true.
That's just not
probably me.
Yeah, I'm not here to, condemn that. We're just trying to talk about it from the perspective of whether it hurt this or not. But again, we'll see when if we remember, or if the troll room remembers, we'll bring it back up to see how it does once it opens internationally. Maybe we'll give it a couple weeks, kind of see where it lands. Because again, for me, like, yeah, it's great that it's like number 1, right? Or whether it's number 1 or whatever. But at the same time, like, if it profits and then we get more stuff like this, great. And we don't have to talk about this for very long. I sent this out as a tweet because that Deadpool trailer dropped.
Yes.
And I like the trailer, and I hope it does good. And Disney's still going to learn the wrong lessons from it.
Yes.
They're still going to be like, okay, well now we just need to make R-rated movies. If it's
R-rated, funny, obscene movies. That's what we need.
Yeah, that's what we have to do now. That's how we'll make money. And it's like still overlooking everything that makes something like that potentially good. And yeah, I'm Hugh Jackman coming back.
I must be the only one that doesn't care to see it.
Maybe. I mean, it's fine. I'm looking forward to it to some degree. Like, it just it kind of scratches that like silly itch that I have or something like that.
Yeah.
But I also am like still sort of weird about like it feels a little bit like they're trying to be respectful of bringing Hugh Jackman back when everyone was like, guys, it was fine. You should have just left him alone.
Casted somebody new.
Yeah, well, maybe, but I don't know. I still kind of like the idea. Like, I can't be mad. I can't be mad about it. Now, if it sucks, it's going to be like, great. Why did you guys do this? But there's something kind of irreverent about it in the way that, like, I'm pretty sure they had like a giant dead Ant-Man in it, and like they're killing the TVA from the show, and I'm just sort of like, maybe that's what it is. It's just, maybe it's just it's kind of that like,
Killing all the bad parts of Phase
yeah,
4. And,
yep. Yeah. It's it's similar to. I don't think it'll be exactly the same, but it's sort of similar to what was it Deadpool 2 that did that, where he went back and was like killing all of the all. He
I don't
like
know. I
he
haven't
kills.
seen the first or second one.
I think in one of them, it might be the second one. He like kills himself from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That's funny.
So there's stuff like that. And yeah, it is a little weird to watch that and be like, wow, this like Disney. This is a Disney thing. So we'll see. But yeah,
Walt Disney will be turning in his grave.
Wait, Zach said.
I said that Zach said Richardson's comments. Hey, Richardson is gonna change his name. I'm gonna start a petition, Richardson. That just sounds more correct. But Richardson's comments wouldn't stop me from watching his movie, to be clear. And then I said his comments is what took your voice away, isn't it? And then that's when he said, "Oh yes, I couldn't stop crying." And all the sobbing ruined my vocal cords.
Zach, I hope you're getting better too, dude. I hope your vocal cords are getting back to normal, because that's rough.
Yeah, I told him after the show last week, I'm like, don't go see Dr. Acula. It's a bad decision.
Hey, Whoopa. Glad to see you in the troll room, dude. All right. Well, are you ready? Are we good? Are you ready to talk about Rebel Moon?
Yeah, Whoopa came here just in time.
When you finally get to see Ungentlemanly Warfare, I want to know how you felt about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, my theater decided to do Arthur the King, and I didn't even know that was a movie.
Oh,
but apparently it is, and Civil War. So
yeah,
yay me.
Dude, man, who knows, man? I mean, maybe it's just access to the movie in the States too, that it's just not playing.
True.
It's not getting as many showings as something like Civil War. They're just pushing that movie like crazy, and people are like, "Well, I gotta go see something,"
Yeah, CIA has to get out their programming for the election.
Oh, so we've kind of been throwing jabs at Rebel Moon, the whole show, because it is an absolute
worthy of it.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. I fell asleep through about 20 minutes of it, because, dude, it is. It's everything that we talked about before.
Why did they just add 20 or 30 minutes all to the last one?
Dude, I know he could have just, so they wanted, who was I can't remember. Maybe I was watching EFAP and they were talking about it a little bit. They were saying, someone on there was saying that they wanted, he had made a 3-hour movie and they wanted a 2-hour movie. And he was like, well, I don't want to take away an hour, so I'll just make it 2 2-hour movies. Which is crazy. But and they said that allegedly, and maybe he said this in an interview, but he said that taking away an hour from the 3-hour movie would take away from all of the character. It's like, what?
I thought it was because he wanted his very own The Empire Strikes Back type deal. Without all the good writing.
I mean, he's already jumped several sharks if that was the case.
Dude, I've never spent so much time watching people farm in a movie to act like it was so significant and special. Even in slow motion. And then to be like, oh, I could pick this movie apart so bad.
I know. I mean,
it doesn't make any freaking sense, Zach.
I mentioned it before, and there's plenty of stuff that we've talked about that's definitely still like 1 out of 10s, but this is such a solid 1 out of 10 for me. I can't remember how far I was into it when I was just like, I think it was like 10 minutes, because it does the same thing that the first one does, and for some reason this one didn't get the excuses from, I guess, like the Snyder fanboys. Maybe they just realize it and they're being more quiet than usual. I've seen a few people on Twitter defending it, but I never know if that stuff's real or like what's going on there. But just the exposition, like the whole movie's a massive exposition dump and slow motion. And I,
Dude,
oh,
speaking
dude,
of
and
expedition,
let me
one of the
pull this
funniest
up.
parts was when they set to Zach's points when he said he gave us the characters' backstories in a sequel. Who does that?
Yeah,
Um,
it was so
and
wild, dude.
the guy literally said, "Let." I want to get his exact words, so I'm gonna find it.
Yeah,
But it
you're
was
good. I'm pulling
essentially
something up.
we got to sit here at this table and give each other our backstories so we can trust each other. I'm gonna find it because I died. Okay, okay. I wish we were doing watch together so we could
I know.
have this going on in the background so the good people could see it. But
I'm doing some things, but keep talking.
we just need to figure out. Okay, he says, listen, listen.
Hey, listen.
I've never been one for making confessions. I'm sorry, I'm having to wait for it to go.
Rebel
Now we
Moon.
know what each of us must do. Let me play this. You're all here because I want you to. I want you to know who the hell you're
Hello,
fighting
James.
with.
Oh,
Everyone must share the truth.
sorry. Yikes.
I'll go first. So basically, he's literally standing around and say, "Hey, let's all share the truth and give our backstories now." And it's like, dude, this is not Zach. This is not how you give characters backstories, or at least maybe I always want to leave at least 1%. Maybe there's a way to do this to where it's good. This just isn't it.
Oh, for sure. Um,
I mean, like,
I don't even. You know how like usually we're like, well, there's like aspects of a good story in here. I just don't even have the capacity to try to
the
do that,
the coal powered dreadnought.
bruh.
We could slip through space
It
but our
it doesn't make
huge ship is powered
it
by
doesn't make
coal.
sense. This whole the whole thing of like, okay, so something that was really weird about the whole harvesting thing. Actually, I do want to bring this up. Let me see if I can get this working. But there's all sorts, and I've forgotten a bit of the first one. I
Yeah,
I don't think.
that's natural.
To be honest, you don't even need to see the first one to watch the second one because they just tell you everything you need in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, the opening scene.
It's literally like this happened. These people did this. Cora found these people. She brought them back. Here we are. That's like it. Oh, and Admiral Noble, is that his name? And they beat Admiral Noble and he's dead, or they think he's dead, and then the movie basically starts, and you're like,
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you need to know.
Anthony.
Nothing else matters. It
He
doesn't.
starts out with that huge exposition jump.
Dude,
Oh,
poor
dude,
Anthony
it's so
Hopkins.
funny. On the far edges of the motherboard's reach, circling the gas giant Mara, was a small moon. There, a village of humble farmers lived a simple life, born of the earth.
Golly.
And then blah 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 continues until the shadow of a warship fell upon their fields. This ship's commander, Admiral Noble. Why didn't anybody call back to the Imperial Empire to let them know, hey, our freaking admiral just got killed?
Yeah.
What do you want us to do? I don't know. Apparently, communication is not their strong suit. Why didn't they realize that all their warriors they left on Velt, all their military men, were killed with the exception of one? Why did it why would the captain of the ship not want to talk to the freaking general you left on Velt?
Sorry, I'm trying to fix a couple things on here. Oh,
So
Lord.
stupid.
Yeah.
Oh man. I know there's a rebel alliance on the planet below, but they have some grain, so no, I'm not going to just blow them up. I'm going to go down there and risk my entire ship's life to get a bit of grain because we can slip through space-time, but not apparently grain. Hopefully that ship had some freaking ovens so they could make some muffins out of it.
My whole thing's messed up, and I'm trying to.
And then on the whole grain front, speaking of the freaking grain, the whole community spends day and night farming grain, so the enemy won't overtake them and blow them up and fight them, right?
Right.
Or take them over. But who is checking the freaking bags on the enemy's side for grain? Couldn't they? They could have easily filled it up with sand from all the digging they did with the tunnels or any other material they wanted to, and not go through the freaking harvesting and then the grinding of the flour and then filling the bags with flour just to use it, just to put it on the building so they wouldn't shoot. And then at the end of the story, at the end of the movie, the guy's like, "Nah, just shoot him." The admiral's just like, "Nah, just shoot him anyway. Screw the grain."
Yeah, none of that makes any sense to me. They clearly, obviously, they didn't care about the grain. Like, it just makes the entire thing not make sense. I had seen somebody on Twitter point out that they were like, it's crazy that this culture did all of this by hand, and then someone was like, didn't you see that they said like, oh, in our culture, God, this is so big. This is insane, dude. I don't know how this happened. Sorry, everyone, for this.
We do everything by hand because we're vegans
Well, they're like
and hippies.
yeah, they're like we do everything by hand because it's our culture or whatever. And it's like this empire would have been like, shut up and use this. If they're willing to murder them,
Hey, we're willing to use freaking rocket launchers, but we draw the line at harvesters.
yeah. We're not gonna get this done any faster. And it's so funny too because like when they tell them that they're like, oh, it's gonna be a hard 3 days work or whatever, everyone looks like really upset about it. And it's like, y'all, you could have used the harvesters. You could have done this the right way. Oh, sorry, everyone. Finally got it.
And just to let all the vegans know that are listening, I really don't care that you're vegan. I'm not. That's just a joke about this movie, not your community. Just don't come after me.
I just don't like. There's so much about it I don't understand. Like why specifically this
I'm
community?
glad you brought up the harvester part, by the way, because I was going to bring that up. I was like, why didn't they just?
So dumb.
They have all this machinery.
What did I send you in that text the other day? It was driving me nuts, dude.
Oh, I love it. What was that? I can't remember that show or movie before last where the lady cut her hair before battle, but in this movie, I think it was Halo where the chick did that. And in this one, the woman,
man,
all this valuable time I'm gonna spend, and that's gonna be to cut my hair.
I was
right
like,
before battle.
This is the text that I sent you. I was like, oh, great warriors from across the galaxy, please come protect our village. Also, can you do 3 days hard labor while you're at it? Also, is there not a machine out there that could have done the work for them? I was like, I hate this. And this is on top of like these exposition dumps, and like I hadn't even gotten to the part where they're all sitting around the table expositing their stories, and it's like all kind of similar stories. It's like it's so boring. Like there's nothing.
I was in this place and I was happy, and then bad guys show up and made me unhappy.
Yeah, and like
I did the one I can't remember her name. Let me pull up the IMDb. But
Nemesis.
No,
not
the Nemesis.
androgynous.
The androgynous character cannot act in that scene. I don't know what direction she was led in, but yeah, I was just like, ooh, that's some bad acting. I don't know if that's you or if it's the writing. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and say the writing because this whole movie kind of sucks. I don't even remember her character. I forgot that she was even in the movie. The androgynous character, but I'm trying to.
You'll be able to see this in a second on YouTube, Joseph. But this opening credit or this title card, that pops up. Oh shoot!
Okay. I still don't know her name. It's apparently Milius.
This is
who would have known?
Slow. Yeah, dude, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Known? I don't. The only character I know. Okay, so I know Korra, and then there
Gunnar,
and Gunnar/Gunner, depending on who was saying his name.
Titus is the general,
and then Noble, which I just learned today. But I love. Let's see if it's gonna let me load this.
I like. I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, but Jimon Hansu.
This. I always call it. I think it's like Digimon Hansu.
I like that. I'm gonna just call him Digimon then.
No, dude. Oh, dude, did it? Hang on. Let me see if I can. Oh, did they already do it? The title card's in here somewhere.
I also loved how
goofy.
They have this advanced, ships that can travel through space at hyperspeed and can slip through space. Is probably a better, more accurate way to say it. And then has all these different futuristic technology. However, they use a manual system for their guns, just so they have to turn a manual pulley system that takes a minute to direct on the enemy. So it seems like it would be very important if you have a battleship that the ability to target an enemy should be the number one priority.
I'm trying to get to this. Can I? No. Okay. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is the title card. It's coming up in a second. You should be able to see it on YouTube in a second. I'm kind of just getting here. But he's in this cocoon. Dude, I laughed so many times during this movie for unintentional reasons. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to start keeping track of like when stuff's making me like unintentionally laugh in movies so that we can talk about it. Look at this. It's so bad. Bro, I hate it.
Oh, I love this scene. Or not this one, but the next one where the guy's basically like, yeah, man, like you can't go out. Like I just, you're not physically and mentally fit to go out, and he just kills him.
Oh yeah, I'm so dude.
Because it's for me to point out the screen and go, oh, that's the bad guy. He's evil.
Yeah.
He killed one of his, and it's like guys like typically when superiors in shows kill their subordinates, it's because out of disrespect or they make a grave mistake, not because they're caring about their well-being.
Yeah, it's so stupid, dude.
Oh gosh,
I can't find the title card. I know it's here. Oh, they did a whole thing with him too, with the Admiral, where like they were like, oh, he might not be the same person that he was before, but he was. Like he didn't really I didn't notice any change. I mean, he was already like evil guy trying to steal the grain and be evil. Like what?
Well, he's
where was he gonna go from there?
He's supposed to represent the Nazis, David.
So. Oh yeah, shocker. He also, it's so funny. Mahler pointed this out, like, because Snyder does this a lot with his like Christ imagery in his works. He's got like major, I think it's Catholicism, but he's got like major hang-ups with that stuff. But it's so confusing in this, where it's like, did you do it just because this is technically like a resurrection scene, and then like, oh look, like imagery, and then that's it? Like there's no, you know how like we've talked with Shogun where it's like, we were talking about this on Zach's channel, where it's like, we're from the perspective of Blackthorn. He puts that line in the sand in the scene from episode 9, and there was someone on the panel was like, oh, well, it could just be that he was doing that, and it's like, well, yeah, maybe that's just what he's doing in the moment, and like for him, maybe it doesn't mean a whole lot, but they're showing this to us for a reason.
Yes,
they don't like. Good shows don't typically waste your time with like nonsense moments that don't have some sort of meaning, whether that's specifically for the audience, for something that's coming that maybe even our character doesn't understand yet. But that's the problem with like movies like this. Oh, here it is. Man, I was like way off. I'm about to load up this title. Come on, title card. Work for me.
All of a sudden, our stream gets shut down.
Oh, yeah, because we're like, it will be done.
Giving.
Here we go. This is what I was talking about. I thought it was earlier than this for some reason. I don't know why this made me laugh so hard, dude, but it was it's not good. Part 2.
Spider-Man.
The Scar.
Hold him down.
It does kind of look like he got beat by Spider-Man.
Oh, dude, that's too long of a name. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver. Oh my gosh, don't get me wrong. Scar Giver part. They said it like 3 times, but at the end, when he sees Cora, he's like, "You see this scar you gave me?"
So, is she the Scar Giver because she gave him a scar? Is she the Scar Giver because of what she did to the princess and her family? Or is it something else?
She's the Scar Giver because of the scar she left on all of our hearts, David. Yeah, no, that was also my favorite part too. was how we're supposed to like this main protagonist, even though she led the king, queen, and the princess, whom she was supposed to protect, into an
Dude.
assassination, and then she murdered the princess, or at least attempted to murder a child or minor. It's
As we know it, up
listen,
until the last like 5 minutes
y-
of the movie,
yeah.
she
Well, it's
murdered
still
the
attempted
princess.
murder.
Fair enough, yeah.
It's still attempted
And
murder.
she's like,
But
"I forgive you."
I'm I'm not saying it can't be done,
Oh, it can
where
be
you can't
done.
do a redemption arc
Sure, it can
with
totally be
someone like
done.
that, right?
And like,
But
yeah.
you better be on your P's and Q's with that writing, and that writing has to be tight, and that wasn't it. Because it's gonna be hard pressed to get the audience to end up liking
Well,
someone with that redemption arc.
to be honest, though, it's already too late because we've gone through 2 hours of this already, and none of the character. We don't know anything about the characters really, and up until that, like the second movie, it's just most people are probably already like checked out or not watching it. Like Zach's is right. You put all of this. You put all of this. I mean, again, it's still exposition, but you put all of this quote unquote character development in the second movie. As if it's like, and it's weird, dude, because everything feels like a check, like he's checking off boxes, you know, like
Yes.
the way that he's writing it. This more so than a lot of stuff that we've ever watched feels like a first draft.
Yes,
Like they were setting up like boxing certain things off. Like,
You know-
okay, here
you know what it needed,
this needs to be
David?
done. This needs to be done.
It
What did
needed
it need?
focus groups.
Focus groups, yeah. Oh, that was a great interview, wasn't it? When he's like,
was.
it's basically like, if you don't watch my movies, you're gonna get more focus group movies. It's like, dude, we already have those. Like, make good stuff.
Yes.
Like, you're missing and this is like
But that doesn't help his case because his movies need focus groups.
he's like a lot of other these kind of guys that think they're auteurs in Hollywood, where like they just don't have at least one person around them that's like, nah, don't do that.
Yes.
Or someone who reads the script. Like, who's reading the script and being like, yeah, bro, this is great. 10 out of 10 material. You know, watching a first draft of, like, a first cut of the movie and being like, you got it, bro. Looks great. You know, no one's going, okay, well, who are these characters? Like, why aren't these guys, like, when they're flying from place to place, having, conversations with each other, getting to know each other? I mean, something like this, the first Avengers is probably a good. Though, to be fair, we had a few movies with some of those characters before, but the sort of like team dynamic that comes with stuff like that. I mean, Joss Whedon was excellent at that before he got kicked out of Hollywood. He understood the writing of like team dynamics.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder clearly doesn't. In fact, he just prefers, at least the first movie, just overlooks it. Like, there's so many scenes in that first movie of them all in the spaceship, and the camera's just, like, panning past all of them, and they're all, like, hanging out, but we're not getting any information about them. And then it's, like, it's weird the way that it's handled, because it's almost as if that was all kind of set up already, and then he's like, man, I probably need to give some backstory for all of these characters so that you care about them when they go into this battle at the end. He's like, I'll just have them sit around a table and talk for 20 minutes.
Dude, it's such a crappy Seven Samurai ripoff.
It's not even that good. Like, I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I've seen Seven Samurai, but I'm pretty sure like all of them die. Like the whole it's there's meaning behind something like Seven Samurai beyond these talented warriors go to protect a village.
Yes.
There's a lot more that goes into that kind of stuff. I know and it may be the case with Seven Samurai, and they did, they've done, what is it? The Magnificent Seven is similar because it's like based off of that, and then there's an anime that's pretty good, based off of Seven Samurai. But I'm pretty sure one of the themes in that is sort of like the changing of the times. So it's like technology starts taking over, and like the samurai or the cowboys are sort of like being left behind.
Yes, they're in that in between stage.
Yeah. And so, but this, it's like that's not there. Like, there's no. I mean, are there themes in this? Like, is there anything in that realm to even grasp on? want to.
Dude, I don't.
Like sacrifice. Borderline. Like
Yeah,
there's
there's a theme. It doesn't matter if you try to kill a child. You can be not redeemed. I don't because there really wasn't a redemption arc for her. I mean, I guess her redemption arc. I mean, now is obviously going to find the princess and saying sorry.
and probably
So it's
save her.
attempted.
But it's so
Yeah.
weird. Like, why would you?
But I guess it's
The way
like
this
if you
movie
go
is
and
set
protect
up
a
makes no
village,
sense.
you can be partially redeemed
Yeah,
through your actions.
it's really weird. And like, isn't it funny? So you remember? Okay, so Anthony Hopkins' character, he's the robot. His entire like existence is basically was to protect the king. Now it's
Yep.
like he serves the fallen king. This information comes out about Korra having essentially been the person, even though it's not 100% true. Korra's essentially responsible for the death of the king, kills the princess, and the robot's like, "Oh, okay."
Yep. Nothing.
Yeah, it's very weird. Doesn't make
Very
a whole lot
rude.
of,
Oh, speaking of
doesn't
that
make a lot
scene,
of
dude,
sense.
I was dying laughing during the assassination scene.
Oh, I can
Uh,
pull that up. That's so funny, dude.
oh my gosh, dude, there's so many hilarious aspects to that.
You can talk about it if you
Man,
want
it just yes. I just love how when they have a live musicians there, and as the king, everything's starting to turn about. They increase the tempo. But before we get there, so
to. Oh, I can speak.
you walk in, and it's very clear this is going to be a setup. There's people in black. He's walking to what's the guy's name? Belarius,
Belarius.
Barus.
He's no, dude. It's Caesar and Brutus.
Yes.
Down to the king's crown. It's like, come on, man. Like, yes, people take
Belisarius.
Belisarius. They take from history. They take from other works of fiction that they like. But he's so on the nose with everything that he does.
Yes, he is. And it's like very clear. The king's like, "Oh, this is fine. This is fine." And he's like, "Oh no, wait, something's amuck. This isn't right."
He's like, something is wrong.
Yes,
That's crazy.
you're having this ominous music being played by the musicians, and then when Belisarius turns around to be like, "You're dead,"
There they are.
they start increasing the tempo, and then it just. Oh man, when the king was on the floor, when Korra was pointing the gun at the princess, and he's like, "No, no."
Yeah, that was another part that made me laugh really, really hard. And they're like, I got Belisarius.
It just cracked me up, man. This whole scene. I'm tired of this heavy-handed, over-serious Zack Snyder scene where people read more into it than what he's giving you. I think visually Zack Snyder is good.
Maybe he was at one point. I think this movie.
Well,
like his last
needs people checking him.
His last. I won't speak for BVS fully, even though I think that movie didn't look that great either. I think he had interesting vision at one point. But it's just like he still doesn't really. I don't feel like he knows how to use it properly.
No, he's not the type of the director that you should give carte blanche reign. It just doesn't make sense.
Here's the thing, because I was kind of thinking about watching this scene, right? What he created with this,
Zax. Sorry.
What did he say? Can we talk about?
Can we talk about Belisarius?
Sure. We'll find it in a second. What he's doing with Rebel Moon, the problem is that he went for massive, like, big picture instead of doing smaller projects that potentially lead into something like this.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do this, Korra needed to do a movie, maybe, and, man, this shared universe stuff is exhausting to some degree, but if he was, what I would have done, I think, and this is something to maybe keep in mind for the future, is that, like, maybe you introduce this world gradually rather than going for a massive like sci-fi epic. Oh, there's his
Yes,
forehead. Wow. Yeah. His beard looks so fake to me.
it does.
That dude's his accent's not good. Again, some of this I think is like the way that stuff is filmed. It's the quality of the cameras. And then it's sort of the same thing that was like happening with Ahsoka. There's not enough. I guess this movie does have a lot of. It's probably that I just don't like it. Um, it has like I think a lot of consistency in its color grading and the way that like skies look, and I just think it's ugly. I guess is what it really comes down to. Um, but yeah, man, like you do a story about the death of the king and his family, right? Maybe that's part of Korra's like first like introduction. You could do a movie about Titus. You could do a movie about Nemesis, which could be pretty interesting. I mean, like I've of all of the characters, I find her the one that I could pinpoint as kind of interesting.
Interesting.
There's not a lot there. There really isn't, but like there's something there. Just
There potentially could be with better
tiny,
writing.
yeah, a little morsel of something. But just from the perspective of like how you could set something up before you go into like what Rebel Moon is now. But then again, like because then you don't have like you could make something interesting about this, and you don't have to have hours of like exposition in order to do all this, because that's all it is. That's all this is. This entire scene is just more exposition.
Yes.
They can't just let us like watch something like this. There has to be this voiceover to it where they're telling you everything that's going on. It's exhausting, dude. Like none of this is. It's
And
not
she
good.
just smokes the princess.
Yeah.
And the princess is like, I forgive you. And she goes, I don't care.
Dude, the fact that her gun isn't in frame here, like so much of the framing of this drives me nuts. I'm pretty sure this is digital too. So like I don't know if you can see this yet, but like you have the blurred out background, right? But like typically, at least I've never seen one, lenses don't I don't think it would just focus on her, but this looks bad anyway. It needed the gun needed to be in focus regardless.
I guess it's to show her emotion, but I think you can do two to where you have the focus of the gun
So
and her.
it's leading lines. So the gun is in focus, and there's actually I mean you can literally see the lines on this gun.
Yes.
So they lead to her expression on her face. That's what helps focus that in. And they just blur it out, and it just looks bad because like you want to see the gun in focus because the gun is important in the scene because she's about to murder the princess.
Yeah.
Um,
as people do.
Yeah, as people do. Oh, here he is. Here's the
as
king.
likable. I'm sorry. As likable protagonists do.
Hang on. Let me see if I can. He's like, no. Like he should have been dead. He just got stabbed a bunch. Oh man.
But the evil general's like, no, I'm gonna make you watch it.
Yeah. It's kill her. Kill her.
Zach is really good at unintentional comedy.
Oh man.
I like later on during the battle how what's the lady's name again that I didn't even remember was in the first film? Milius.
I've already forgotten. I just keep calling her androgynous.
Milius is her name, and it's with one of the big tanks are fighting in the battle, and in the first scene you see the big tank and there's soldiers surrounding it, right?
I know what you're talking about.
And then it cuts back to her, and she comes out, kills like one soldier, maybe two, and then it cuts, and there's like hardly no soldiers around the tank all of a sudden.
I wish I could find it. So that happens, and one of the other funny things about I can't remember if it's that exact scene or if it's later, if it's another part with her, but she like drops down into the water, right?
Yes.
And she's going across the thing, and I wish I could find it. I'm not 100% sure where it is in here. Oh, is this it? Did I find it?
You're getting close. Yeah. You found it.
Is this it?
Just a bit.
Hang on, let me turn
Yep,
the
that's it.
audio off. I want to see if I can show this. They're all like, there's lasers like going everywhere. None of them are getting hit by it. Like, look at the way this like gunfire's going off, just as like as a reference. Let me go back about 10 seconds. Come on, load for me. Oh, here she is in the water. So she like drops down and she's in the water and she's trying to get somewhere to a better position, and she ends up kind of in cover, but like the way the lasers are going, look at this. Look at the way the lasers.
Yeah.
Look at the way the lasers go by her. She
Yeah,
doesn't get hit
I
by
saw
a
it too.
single thing in this scene. Boom, 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 boom. She's like cutting this dude's throat. The way the guns were going. Look at the way the guns are going off. Right, all like that is insane.
The plot armor is just par for the course in this movie.
Tearing up this thing, and she manages to get over here. And I remember watching this dude. It was starting to hurt my eyes.
Dude, I just love how it's like hardly no soldiers around.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and she just happens to blow up this huge tank. And I love too how none of the soldiers were hiding behind the tank, which is what you typically do, and also how they didn't just start with the tanks. Like
how
if you weren't going to blow,
is. Sorry, look how close she is to this.
I know. All of a sudden, all the soldiers are cleared out right there, and she's super close to it.
Yeah.
And look how many soldiers are behind her.
Right
too.
behind.
Like, you got like
this guy.
You got like one
guy.
guy that could
Look at
easily.
this guy right here. Just a perfect line of sight. She should have been done for, dude. There's no way. Oh my gosh, I hate this movie.
Typically you would lead with your tanks if you're going to be invading like that instead of shooting from your all destroying dreadnought ship. If you're not going to do that, you drop your gazillion tanks that you have and then let them lead and then decimate everything. So hey, common people, where are you playing this from, David? Is it watched together?
No. So if you use Brave, I don't know if I should be giving away my secrets like this, but
common people, if you make a small donation,
no, I'll tell you,
$199.
If you use Brave and OBS, it doesn't have a quote unquote copyright block on that, so you can pull up any streaming service and show stuff from it. And so the way that I typically do it is I'll either just show still images from that or like 5-ish second long clips from that. Sometimes I pre-record if like it's something off of Netflix to use for the show. So that I can actually do like frame by frames. It's a little easier that way, but I haven't had time to do that. He donated.
Only $998 to go.
Oh, dude. Thank you, common people.
I was joking, by the way, people.
Hey, we appreciate it anyway. But yeah, that's typically how I do it. Everything's done through OBS, and yeah, you can use the Brave browser. I think Firefox works too. That's what I was originally using, but for whatever reason, Brave's been working on OBS, and I use the Streamlabs OBS just because I find it to be a little more user friendly. But that's pretty much it. And then there are ways on that to that you can capture like an internet source, and then I'll don't use this for pirating reasons and or other things, but essentially the way that we use it for fair use, this is for fair use, so that we have like visuals, is that like I'll pre-record the stuff so that I can go frame by frame when we're talking about all of these things. It's really not that hard. It took me forever to figure out how to do it, but that's typically what I'll do. And I like it because I can actually hit certain frames a lot easier than like I'll literally pull it into Premiere Pro sometimes if we're doing something like that, because in Premiere Pro I can literally go like a frame at a time to go through things. I can cut it. I can cut stuff up. I've like literally slowed down footage before when we've been in discussions with like Ahsoka about I don't know if you remember this, Joseph, but like I did that with when we were talking about the way she runs, and there's this scene where like her running gets like sped up really weird and it just looks bad. And so I was like, I don't know, maybe if we like cut it down a little bit, we like, slow it down just a little bit, it'll look better. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if it did, but
I do remember that.
doing stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much how we do it. It's pretty easy.
And again, appreciate the donation, common people. I was
Yeah.
just
It's a good,
kidding.
hey,
But
it's a good question. Always willing to it. When we first started doing this and I was trying to figure out like our setup and how to do this kind of stuff, I wish that there had been more people out there that talked about it, or it was easier to find the information, because
yeah,
pretty much it was like trial and error, just constantly like watching other people's streams, being like, "Ooh, I like that. How do I do that? Like, how do we have it? How do we set that up like that?" And then eventually
did
I
you
just
see
figured
his
it out.
you see his comment in the troll room? He said €1 stream, only 998 streams to
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, dude, for sure. Um, all right, Joseph, was there other stuff? I'm trying to think of anything that.
See.
um,
Oh yeah, I love how it's just they pick up any random person in uniform in their ship uh, that looks injured, and just like no question asked. There's no code that she has to give for her ship as they get on, because
oh,
clearly
shocker.
her ship's gonna look different from the newest model.
Yeah,
Um,
that stuff has been
and
completely thrown out the window. It's the Star Wars problem that we
yeah,
always have. Uh oh, the whole ship thing's funny too, because do you remember what one of the biggest problems was for Cora and Gunner in the first movie?
no, I don't.
They needed a spaceship
Oh yeah, that's right,
to
that's
get
right.
off the planet, and she conveniently forgot that she owned one.
Right in the backyard there.
Oh man,
Oh gosh, dude, I can't believe
is
this
this another?
Netflix got made.
Let me
This got
see
made with
if.
Netflix. I mean, I can, but Zack Snyder needs some help, man. He really needs a good writer, and maybe that would help his directing out too, is having a good writer. I'm trying to think if there's anything.
I know there's other stuff. It's just this really was one of those movies that so much of it left. Oh, the whole thing with Cora and Gunter in the dreadnought. That's what they call it, right?
The Dreadnought, yeah.
Um, it's crazy to me too that well, he ultimately doesn't survive, but it's just because he gets shot, not because somehow the ship manages. Or they manage to get out of here. It's crazy, dude. I mean, I need to pull this part up. So the massive ship that is attacking these farmers um gets blown up. Is this it? Let me see if I can go back a little bit. Oh, here it is. So Cora plants these charges on the
Yes,
dreadnought, right? And
not about that.
it
Yes,
blows up, right? So this thing's
right.
this thing's like real big. Um, oh goodness, what's going on here? Getting notifications about stuff. It gets blown up. Uh, Misses the town. I guess this nuke that was gonna go off for whatever reason or whatever.
Yes,
Um,
the blaster,
which
the master blaster.
let's also just take into account how big that explosion is. No damage. It's far enough away, I guess, that you know. Mm.
That happens. Well, I love earlier when she sets the charges, and then it cuts to the back to that bridge across the coal, and there's just a soldier. Um, it's really badly edited, but there's a soldier walking down the bridge, just lollygagging around, and then it cuts back to her, And then it cuts back to him. He's like, "Oh no!" And it cuts back to her, and she's like, "Oh no!" And she shoots him, uh, and then jumps down and shoots all the dudes in the coil fields on the dreadnought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so this thing gets just to set this up. This thing gets blown up, right? I mean, like explosion over here. Big ship. Um, and at some point, it starts. They get into Noble and Korra get into a lightsaber fight. Really lame one. Weird like lore stuff with this universe too, where like I guess you have to have robot hands or something
to
like.
hold the not lightsabers.
Yeah, I guess Noble has enough like weird enhancements in him or whatever. Like he's not fully human or whatever the case. I mean, it's not like they do a good job of breaking this down for us. Yeah, like we kind of know he's not fully human, but it's like, all right, I guess he can use it, but like she can't because. And then she just wraps a rag around it, and she's able to use it. And it's like, well, that was easy. Like that's an easy workaround.
That's all you needed was a rag. All along, you didn't have to cut off your arms.
I
Nemesis.
just remembered something too. This is something that Mahler had said. It's really funny that you remember at the beginning of the movie where they talk about how their whole like the way that their system is run is that if an admiral dies, the ship has to go all the way back to the fleet.
Yes.
If that's the case, wouldn't they just? It's like a loophole because like why wouldn't everyone just go after the admirals? Like you kill the admiral in battle, and they go, well, guess we got to go back now.
Yeah, right.
It's weird. Anyway,
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I love how one of the things I was gonna say is I love how like there's hardly no relationship between the main team. Like the whole first movie was about them meeting, and then in this second movie, they hardly talk with each other. And in the battle, and then in the last battle, right, like towards the end, the Milius tells that what was the shoot, who was it? She says to someone else, "If I must die, then I want to die here or whatnot." And the other character says, "We'll do it together." Maybe it was.
It was the Raven guy, right? When they're
yes, yeah,
and he's like using his axe,
and it was like the first time they spoke.
pretty much, man. God, this movie is crazy.
Die, let's do it together. And it's like this is like the first time of them speaking.
So they get
that scene around the table of them just
so bad, dude. So they're getting
just think, David. Just think any day that you feel dumb. That scene got past a director, a writer, executives.
If I finally start sitting down and writing scripts at some point, I just need to cut that specific scene and watch it every once in a while to remember not to do certain things. You know, it'll be like an affirmation or whatever. So it's like, oh man, things are pretty tough today. You just go watch that and you go, oh yeah, at least I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Noble and Korra get into a literal lightsaber fight. As the dreadnought is beginning to like fall, like you can see all of the stuff around them is starting to kind of go down, and you're like, okay, yeah, like I get that. That's kind of an action thing. Like it makes sense that you would potentially want to do that for your scene. So that's not where my problem is, really. It's what's starting to happen, where they're sliding down this thing. This thing's about to go pretty much vertical. Wait, vertical, right? I did think about it for a second. It's going vertical. And
horizontal.
Yeah, they're sliding down, and you're like, okay, no big deal, right? Like that's stuff that happens. Yeah, this is totally like action, and yeah, whatever. You know, we don't really care about these characters, but not too much to complain about. You know, that thing blows up in the background. But okay, let me back it up about 10 seconds real quick and see if I can catch this again. There are massive spaceships falling down all around them. Let's see if I can if I can stop it in time. Okay, so that thing explodes. Pretty sure that was a ship. and then you can see it right here on the right. And this is where you kind of start going, okay, this is just a little strange. It starts to get out. This thing is tumbling down the corridor, and everything misses them.
Every single thing
Yeah.
misses them.
And to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure too. If she had jumped up like that, right, and kicked him, he wouldn't have landed as close as he does. Sorry, I keep playing this part over again, but to be clear, it's for a reason. So like he slides down, right, and she grabs this pole, she jumps up, kicks him, and he flies back over this thing. But everything else happening behind them is making me thinking he should, like, their gravity is not, as far as I can tell, is not the same gravity of everything else behind them.
Yes.
Like there's more
different.
There's more weight to the two of them than these spaceships that are tumbling very fast down this corridor. And then it just gets.
I just find it funny how keep finding it funny how all she needed to do was to put on some cloth on her hands in order to grab
use the lightsaber.
Not lightsaber. Yeah, which I do like the design of a lightsaber. I do find.
I
think that's a good design.
He's like like everything is flying past him, right? But I'm saying is like there's not weight to what the two of them are doing compared to everything else. Like see how the way he's on here like this.
Yes,
like,
I do.
He looks like he's kind of crawling, and he's not holding him. Like the way that this is angled, and all this stuff is flying past them. And in this thing, like I think there's a shot of it at some point. Let me see if I can find it. Where this thing is. Oh yeah. Look at this. Go back about right here. Look at the way this thing's falling. Like this thing was in. It's in free fall.
It was in free fall for forever, dude. Too. I don't know if you saw. It's not like it was falling from outer space or anything like that. But when it first showed up, it wasn't. I mean, obviously it's far from the ground, but not like.
Look at it going, dude. This thing is
10 minutes far from the ground.
This thing is going straight down, very fast. You'll see we'll get a wide shot of it in a second. Right? Look at this. This thing is practically vertical. And the way that they are fighting in the inside of it is not giving you the impression that that is the case.
Yeah.
I mean, it's par for the course again for this movie. I just wanted to point that out because I found that wild. And like stuff's just, if you're watching the whole scene, like you can see other stuff. It's just like, oh, we got to throw stuff at the screen, like because you're not supposed to be thinking about what's actually going on. It's just kind of you're almost like it's like your senses are overwhelmed by all of the action going on, and it's like.
I was too distracted by both of their haircuts to be paying attention to everything else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Too bad haircuts.
Zax did mention, too, that the Raven dude was a prince, and it never came up again.
No. I was like, oh, he was a prince? Wow.
And again, like that, I guess to be fair, like there's could be something to that given to someone better. But again, it's not like it's anything original. Like the royalty who has to go on the. I mean, it's kind of well, Aragorn. It's kind of like that whole.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of similarity there.
There was a part in here too where my keeper pointed out and said that sounded like a bit of Lord of the Rings music there. Just
wouldn't be surprised.
Touching those nostalgic beats. But I think I texted you, telling you that I watched Rebel Moon Part 2, and then I said. The summary of Korra is, my name is Scargiver of the House of Exposition, Defender of Grain.
Killer of children.
Yeah, that's it. Killer of children at the end there.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Gunnar
then
got killed at the end. I mean, that wasn't really emotional because their chemistry and writing just wasn't.
He got done dirty. Because they lose two people, Nemesis. Right? Nemesis dies and he dies.
Yeah, Nemesis. No, the other guy died. The other white dude. What's his name? Oh, villager, white dude, about Gunnar's age. I can't remember his name.
Oh, with the beard.
Yeah, with the beard.
I must have missed it.
Yeah. Well, the admiral, stabbed them and then kicked them off the ship, and he landed splat on the ground
Oh, right.
as he was escaping. But yeah, Nemesis, her death was supposed to be some kind of heroic montage, and
Just
it's like, bro, she's supposed to be
weird.
like their best fighter. She couldn't defeat the 3 people.
Yeah, it's just not good.
Oh, we're supposed to feel emotion because her kid died, and now she's protecting the kid, and then that kid came to save her, and yeah,
But there's no, again, the setup is so bad that we don't have that emotional connection to her.
nah. And like you go back to, it harkens me back to the Lord of the Rings and the scene with Boromir, to where,
Yeah.
he's protecting Pippin and Merry, to, you have that redemption of his betrayal of Frodo and stuff like that, and so. Yeah, then you get that heroic death, but
This line. Can you see this yet? Digimon
yes,
Hansu.
but you are not her assassin. You literally were.
You literally were. You may have failed, but that doesn't make you not her assassin.
There was no one else responsible but
Yeah,
you for killing her.
You know,
I mean,
that
maybe the general bears a bit of responsibility there, but
I don't want to backtrack too much on it, but that whole scene was crazy too. The way they like set her up as a killer and then just like let her go.
yeah,
She so easily gets away. Like they all just this is so common. I mean, this is like Fallout. There's a lot of stuff that it's so common that in a scenario the writers will just not write guns into certain parts in order to make it work properly. Like a society of warlords, essentially. They they have tons of weapons, tons of guns. She happens to be in a room with a group of people that all just brought knives, and she has her pistol. Not to mention that, but like
it was just luck, David.
Yeah.
But somehow she escaped.
Yeah. And she doesn't really have like they don't. I don't remember this being the case. Noble probably should have handled her pretty easily with all of his like enhancements that he clearly had. A little bit of that is weird. But yeah, like none of the people in that room had guns. They just, for whatever reason, like I don't know what the benefit in letting her go was, especially because when they find out where she is, they all seem to be so obsessed with the fact that she's there. Like they want her back so badly. It's odd, dude. This entire experience over these 2 movies has been so odd to me. And it's crazy, man. Shogun has really implanted itself as probably my favorite show this year. It's going to be tough to beat it. I think that Arcane and House of the Dragon Season 2, both of those have the potential to dethrone it for me. But something's going to be hard pressed this year to be a worse movie than this.
Oh yeah, dude.
Hard pressed.
I think this knocked. I think you're right. I think this knocked Madam Web from that title.
If you gave me the choice between the two, I'd gladly sit through Madam Web again.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Well, David, there's still hope.
Somehow
because
Palpatine returned. Oh man.
Because we still have Borderlands to look forward to later on in the year. So.
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be more forgettable than anything.
Yeah,
it doesn't look good. Like I'm not.
Is there a Star Wars movie coming out, or is it just Star Wars shows?
Just Acolyte this year, I'm pretty sure.
Was that a movie or a show?
It's a show. It's pretty soon, dude. Maybe next month.
Oh, I gotta look it up and see. Did I forget to put it on our calendar?
Are we gonna talk Shogun, or do you want to just save 9 and 10 for next week?
Let's save 9 and 10 for next week.
All right. Episode 9. Just quickly, you can add to this. Episode 9's fantastic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Very, very heart-wrenching.
Yep.
Still really, really happy with the show. Shogun has been a delight. And last episode, watching that tomorrow.
Yes, or tonight, depending on how late you want to stay up.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't have to work tomorrow, so
me either.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll stay up and watch tonight though. But can't, dude. I've been recommending Shogun to anyone who will listen.
Yes.
And just not talking about Rebel Moon with anyone because it's depressing. So yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Are we good with Rebel Moon? Is it
Yes,
um,
it's sufficiently
one
picked
out of
apart.
10, guys? It's
Point
bad.
5, 0 out of 10.
Uh
0.
fair enough. Just yeah, I mean this is something that we've said this a few times with things in the past, but this is definitely an example of something that should be studied for what not to do
Yes.
when creating a movie. And I hate that there are actors in this that I like and that I think deserve better. Even the actress who plays Cora, it's just really sad.
Agreed. There's a lot of actors that
Gosh.
deserve better than this movie,
Uh,
including her.
yeah, y'all. Like, I man, if if I was an actor and I got put in this and saw the reaction of everyone, first of all, I would never work with Zack Snyder again. I would fire my agent and like rethink the direction of my career pretty hard. Dude, Digimon Hansu has either won or at least been nominated for an Oscar for Blood Diamond.
Yeah, I enjoy
I
Digimon
I like
Hansu.
him in a lot of the stuff that he's in, and like him being in this, I'm like, dude, was this just a paycheck? You
It
know,
could be. Hey,
he didn't
sometimes you
have
got
to.
to get.
Yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't seem like he's phoning it in. You know, I can't say that for all of the actors in this, but he does not. He seems to be trying. He did. The lady who plays Nemesis at least seems to be trying, uh, but.
Yeah.
Mm. And this is, I think, why you and I talk about. You're, I feel like, a little more forgiving with this, but we talk about a lot about like it's not typically the actor's faults when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the scene with Milius and was the first time I've said in a while to where I'm like, ooh, I think the writing, yes, is bad, but I think a bit of this bad
mm-hmm.
acting, just at the table, mind you, maybe you, in this one scene,
Yeah,
and maybe I can't
no.
blame you. Maybe at that point, she was like, yeah,
I think in general,
I just don't
it's
care.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it. Um, that actor's very good in general. I don't. There's nothing impressive about our androgynous character, which, man, we're far enough into this podcast. We can talk about this a little bit. The same can probably be said to the character in the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout.
Oh
Our
yeah,
other
yeah,
androgynous character.
Dane or something
Yeah,
like that.
whatever. Very much like placed in there for specific reasons, and it's just kind of like, y'all, what are you doing? Like, very flat acting.
Yep.
No direction given.
It's the complete opposite with Korra, or not Korra, but Kobe in One Piece.
Which is weird, right? Like, what's going?
Yeah, because the acting there was really good, but maybe it really is just the writing and maybe part of the acting as well. But
an exception, not the rule so far.
yeah,
Um, you know, Kobe seemed to be played correctly, and at least like you, and it's crazy because you have like the source material for that, so you can judge it harsher in that case. But that was done appropriately, where both of these characters, whatever their sexual orientation happens to be, and even regardless, just like flat acting, like it's just like I don't know, man. Like I don't know what it is. Like we talked about it with Millie Bobby Brown, but like
yes,
are a lot of actors just like not passionate? Like this generation coming
about
up,
their work.
not all of them. Like One Piece is an exception to that. I mean, actually, a lot of them are closer to our age now that I'm thinking about it. Um, but there's like
But
a
Millie
lack.
Bobby Brown's a good actress.
Is
I mean, at
she?
least I think so.
Is
I
she?
just, man, I'm thinking with Damsel and with some of
Is
these
she?
and with like Enola Holmes, it's like, is it just the scripts that she's being given? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
I
it's like in what's that show called, Stranger Things. I mean, I've only seen her in 3 movies or 3 shows,
Stranger Things.
three pieces of media.
She's kind
Stranger
of been
Things,
able to cruise through Stranger Things. Her character's really not all that. Eleven's not all that interesting.
uh, Enola Holmes, and Damsel. I don't think I. Let me make sure before I say that. Oh
No,
no, Godzilla as
Enola.
well.
Yeah,
She was in
Godzilla.
God's.
Godzilla. She was an afterthought. Like but Enola Holmes, like I can kind of see where you're coming from with that one, but those movies are bad. You know what I mean? And like I didn't find her, like you could probably argue Enola Holmes is more the writing than it is her, but it doesn't excuse like everything else she's been in.
Yeah.
And at best, like maybe she's kind of average, but like it goes back to that idea, like where's the passion? You know? Um.
Yeah. I think she's a good actress though.
Okay.
I do, but I do think like it is weird. It again, I say good, but there's levels, right? She's not great. She's not someone that I'm like, oh, hey, I want to go see this movie Millie Bobby Brown's in, right? It's not the same like with Henry Cavill or other
Right.
actors and actresses that I like. Um, and maybe part of the reason why she's only you could say she's anywhere from average to good, right?
Right.
Is because she doesn't study her craft.
Probably. But that's kind of what I'm getting at is like uh, things have moved. The world's moved into 10-second clips, TikTok, Instagram
Yep.
Reels. The actors and actresses these days, like sometimes they're just getting pulled straight off of that stuff and getting thrust into movies, and it's like it's not the same medium, you know.
Yeah.
It's why like, and I've said this on episodes in the past, like I'm interested more in the potential for the rise of like indie movies and these lower budget like passion projects from people where people really are just I mean take Godzilla minus one
Oh,
into
yeah.
consideration, and I don't know how much Shogun cost, but again the passion in that, like just as an example, even budget probably not the same, but um, it still exists in places, but it's odd to me. Like it does feel like the generation that's coming up, there is just this lack of. And I don't want to be the old man yelling at the clouds with this. It's not really the point. It's just like I'm not convinced yet. I want to be convinced that there's this like new generation of actors coming up that can really knock it out of the park. I don't know, because you know what's funny is you remember. I remember seeing Haley Steinfeld in that western that the Coen brothers.
Oh.
It was a remake of
You talking about True Grit?
True Grit, and she's real good in that.
Yep.
Like when she was 13 or so, very impressive. And I don't know if that exists still. Someone point me in the direction, please, of you know, of something like that, because I just don't see it. You know.
Yeah, it
Um,
was True Grit. I had to make sure.
yeah, it was True Grit. Um, but yeah, she's great in that. I actually really like that
She also
movie.
voices the Vi in
She
Arcane.
does, yes, yeah. All of the, all we're surrounded by like all the voice actors for that. In sometimes
For
in.
Fallout, Lucy
Hmm.
played Jinx, and then Haley Seinfeld plays Vi.
And yeah. So we'll see, man. Shogun next week. Do we have anything else on the schedule besides that?
No, just Shogun episode 8 and 9,
9
or
and 10.
excuse me, 9 and 10, and
Okay.
then I did take out The Crow for June 10th because I'm not going to watch that stupid movie. I
Heard.
just had put that on our calendar.
I
And
had already
so on
forgotten
June
it was coming
10th,
out.
we'll be reviewing Star Wars: The Acolyte episode 1 and 2. However, from
Oof.
there, it's just going to be House of Dragon. I'm not going to review that whole.
Oh,
I'll
Acolyte.
just yeah, Acolyte. I'll just make us suffer for the first 2 episodes because it
Sure.
does release on June 8th.
And it's
Um,
weekly.
yeah, it's weekly, but they're gonna
Okay.
do 2 episodes for the first week, and then
Okay.
it's 8 episodes
Yeah.
total. I'm not reviewing that whole
Sure.
season.
I'm way more interested. I mean, we can do the first
We'll
two, and
do
then
House of the
maybe.
Dragon,
Yeah, House of the Dragon's going to be way more interesting one way or another. Um,
and we'll run through House of the
oh,
Dragon through October.
I'll
I mean,
probably
excuse me,
watch.
August.
I'll probably still watch all of the Acolyte. That'd be fun to maybe just like little updates here and there. If like there's
Yeah, we could do that.
crazy clips or something, it'd be like, guys, you have to see this. You know.
We could keep up with it,
Oh,
and
Stotska.
then we have House of Dragon as our main topic, and then we could just be like, hey, we're still cover
We're
like the
watching
Acolyte
it.
for like
It's still
10,
bad.
yeah, 10, 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe I would one day because there's like all these things that I'd love to implement if I had the time. Of like bad stuff we're watching, and then like picking out a like clip of the week from something that if it's like Rebel Moon sucks. Here is the clip that I think is the worst thing of the week, or something that was unintentionally funny that was in this. Something like that would be fun. And I feel like there's a lot of an Acolyte because or in Star Wars stuff because you have like Princess Leia. You remember in Obi-Wan, Princess Leia running away from all those guys and they couldn't catch her. She's like 5.
I do.
Oh, this tree branch is in the way. I can't.
That was too good.
All right, man. Well, we hit the 2-hour mark, so I think this is going to be a good place for us to stop.
All right, man.
Well. Thanks to everyone who showed up to the live stream tonight. For those of you in the troll room or those of you that just like to lurk, thank you to everyone who is still downloading the podcast and listening to it or just listening to it.
All 5,000 of you.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll be talking about Shogun. Who knows? Some other stuff might come up that we'll end up discussing, but we may make since it's the last episode of Shogun, we may just send it off in style and just do a service to it to allow it to do that. Thank you, Cobra Kai boy. Yeah, I think that's good. It deserves. I think no matter how the show ends, I think at this point it's gonna be a pretty solid 10-episode series. Either way,
yes, it is.
We'll do Shogun the respect of making the show primarily about 9 and 10.
It deserves that for sure.
It deserves a little bit of extra love next week. I agree.
Some care and caressing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, unless you have anything else you want to add, Joseph. Until next week, guys. Y'all take it easy.